Behind the Shades.
How important for you now is it for boundaries to be set in regards to what you just told us?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I had to check myself and realize that the relationship that I have with myself ultimately will be shown with the relationship that I have with others. So if I don't have any boundaries, then it means that I won't have boundaries with others and people are just going to do what they want to do. And I'm going to feel the shitty end of the stick and I'm going to feel icky and I'm going to be resentful. And I'm like, oh, we don't want to go there again. We do not want to go there. So we're going to put boundaries in place because boundaries are great for my well-being. It's about my well-being. And if someone isn't willing to respect my boundaries, then they don't care about my well-being. It's simple, right? And it's also considering that this person that I'm giving these boundaries to or setting these boundaries with, they've never had boundaries. So when I come with that, they're like, I'm sorry, what's going on here? Like, what are you doing? You know, but we have to start somewhere.
So when you figured out your boundaries and you figured out what you wanted to do, did you take some of that energy, some of that wisdom? And is that how you got started in doing what you're doing now?
Absolutely, because I'm from Jamaica. Probably you can pick up with the accent already. And boundaries, I won't say across the country, I'll just say within my little scope was not a thing. I didn't even know what boundaries were when somebody told me. I'm just like, what? Like, so I can tell what I need and those needs will be met. It was foreign to me, right? You're living in a world and you're just doing what you're told. It's like a zombie. And I'm like, well, when I need something, I'm afraid to even ask for what I need. It's uncomfortable. I'm like, what if they don't, one, meet that need? Two, what if they get angry about it? Because that was my experience. I was predisposed to, when I asked for what I need, it was too much for that person. So instead of saying it was too much for them, it felt to me that I was being too much. And then when you feel like you're too much as a kid, you're like, I have to pull it back a little bit because I'm overwhelming this person, not realizing, no, at 30 or 35, that it was because they didn't have the tools why they could not give me what I needed, or they were too, consumed with their own needs that my needs were just put in the back. And that's not what a caregiver is supposed to do, but that's what my experience was.
And I think that we put so much emphasis on the other person because in a way, many of us are broken. Many of us have some type of issue that we need to deal with. And instead of maybe becoming complete or complete enough, we think that Caurel's going to fix me instead of me fixing myself. Are there some steps maybe that we can take to put us in a better position to be a better person if we want a relationship going forward?
Yeah, I think we're great people, and take it or leave it. I think we're great people. We just have terrible behaviors, terrible patterns, terrible thoughts. We're just so consumed by the very things that are keeping us stuck, that the confusion that may be happening up here, the chaos. I want to please this person, but I also want to please myself. I ultimately always choose that other person because if I choose me, then I'm going to be selfish. No, it's not selfish. And we're going to talk about this mask thing. And I know we hear it often, put your mask on you cannot be something for another person if you aren't even that version for yourself, right? So it's going from a space of what is the relationship that I have with myself? That dictates a whole lot. How do I speak to myself? How do I show up for myself? How do I meet my needs? And you'd be surprised that you're like, well, the last time I considered myself was years ago. The last time I spoke to myself or spoke life into myself was years ago. I'm always just so critical that, that the judge, the juror, and the jailer is just going off all the time. And that can really spiral you into depression and anxiety because that noise is so loud. And sometimes the noise that you're hearing isn't even yours, it's someone else's criticism of you turning into your voice. And it's just time for you now to hear your own voice. So first step I would say is to quiet the noise. How do you do that? Sometimes you really do need to do some introspection and be by yourself for a little bit. That's when you're able to hear your thoughts or some thoughts. And then you can, at that point, decide which is yours, what you want to keep, what you want to throw away. So the first step really is sitting with yourself and evaluating the relationship that you have with yourself.